we believe the right way is investing in customer experience and creating customer value. So now we are aiming at growth through customer experience renewal. Our renewal program will be up and running for several years, during which we will renew our ways of working, design new products, services, processes, and of course utilize new efficient core system.
My name is Jochem van der Veer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Theydo, the journey management platform for business decision-making. We raised over $50 million and are growing globally. Our enterprise customers include Ford, J&J, the Home Depot, and Pfizer. I mean, wherever you look, understanding customers is key to staying ahead. But in order to do this at scale, aligning so many different teams with the customer journey is incredibly hard, but it is possible. I really wish this podcast existed before we started our company because so many companies are organizing around journeys and there's so much to learn. So in order to share what I'm learning, what I'm hearing with our community, I meet with industry experts. And in my video podcast, I'm here to explore the world of business strategy, design, and journeys, customer journeys, to really get an understanding of how leaders are changing their way in their business. So let's dive into the show. So my guest today is Jenni Reijonen, and she is not your typical customer experience leader. She is an experience evangelist, obsessed with turning experience into strategic business advantage. And she has a background in design thinking, customer-centric innovation. And with that, she played a pivotal role in reshaping the way organizations view their customers. Her standout achievement, she built Local Tapiola's customer community, and Local Tapiola is one of the biggest insurance companies in Finland, from the ground up, creating a thriving ecosystem of over 1,000 members. And that's not a small feat for an insurance company. This isn't about improving journeys. It's about transforming how companies truly connect with their audience. And today, she's heading up the customer experience renewal and design tools department, or function. And we're going to talk all about that. But before we do, Jenni, it's so nice to have you. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So let's talk about the community first. What is it and why does it matter? Like having a community from your customers for an insurance company, that's not something a lot of insurance companies have. Can you talk about why you initiated that and what it means to have a thriving community of over 1,000 members?
Well, we set up the digital customer community about 2 years ago when we recognized the need for a fast and easy way to get feedback from our customers. So we made a plan for recruitment and administration and started operating and learning. And on the platform, there are multiple different activities like questionnaires, heat maps, polls, A/B testing, discussion forums, and many more. And as you mentioned, we have recruited about 1,000 customers to our community, and they are very active. We get the maturity of the responses during the first 2 days after publishing an activity. So it's really easy to utilize this on all the stages of development, from gathering the needs to testing ideas and prototypes. And in addition to these activities inside the community, we also invite the members to take part in interviews and workshops.
This is a big undertaking. I'm looking back at my early days as a UX researcher myself, and then asking people to join panels or doing research is sometimes hard for brands, but bringing them all together with all these different tools and ways that you want to engage with them is even harder. What was the first thing that actually made people say yes to this? Why do they want to be part of this community? Like, what's your secret?
Well, I think that people really want to develop our services together with us. We didn't promise the members any prizes or gifts or anything. We just told them honestly that you could be part of our community and develop our products and services. And we would really like to hear your thoughts. And they came. But having these about 1,000 members have required at least 100,000 emails. So invitations sent to our current customers. So it wasn't like super easy in the beginning.
Tell me about the business decisions that led up to this, because sending 100,000 emails is not going to go over to your peer in marketing and say, hey, I want to send this email to everyone. Like, there has to be solid plan. There has to be a relationship with the goals, the KPIs. There needs to be some business gain to be made. Like, how did you take the rest of the group together and say, like, this is what we have to do?
Well, selling the idea of having this community was actually quite easy because everyone recognized the need for this kind of thing. And everyone were quite happy that we in the life insurance company in our transformation program started doing this because they saw that this is something useful for everyone. So that was quite easy. But when we started sending these messages, we blocked all our email channels for like 2 weeks because there were so many messages leaving from our servers. And we got a notice that, hey, you really can't send out this many messages because we can't send anything else to our customers now.
Right. It's like hurting your domain credibility and ending up in the spam folders and protecting that. And that's basically what you're saying? Okay, so recognizing the need, you said everyone already recognized that in the business. That hints about a certain culture of truly caring about the customer. It's not common, right? A lot of insurance companies that say that they are customer-centric, when you ask their customers, they're like, that's BS. That's not true. It sounds like if everyone agrees that this was a good idea, there is a different type of culture where you work. Can you speak a bit about that?
Well, our culture is changing, and our development processes are changing. We are going through this major transformation, and being a part of this transformation and taking these new tools and new methods as part of this transformation is much easier than it had been, or it was like a few years ago. So it really is a benefit having this ongoing business transformation.
So when you say tools and methods, are you talking about having specific research practices or the engagement that you are doing with your community, or we're referring to something else? Like, what do you mean with tools and methods, and that they are now easy that weren't available before?
I mean, design thinking and service design in a broader sense.
How is that evolving? How does that come to be? Like, is it people like you and your team who are front running this? Is it about hiring talent? How does an insurance company become so customer obsessed and applying these methods at scale?
Well, I might need to tell something about the background of our transformation to get a bit context for this. I work in a life insurance company inside the local Tapiola group. And in addition to life insurance, we sell saving, investment, and pension insurances. And we have like a dozen different core systems in which these insurance policies are run. And one day, we noticed that some of these systems are quite old and need to be replaced. And having these multiple systems is a bit complex and expensive. So it might be a good idea to replace them all with just one new system. Sounds rational, right? But it turned out that just replacing the systems does not have a great business case. And we also know the old truth that 70% of change initiatives fail. So it might get even more expensive. So we were in a situation where we were going to have to do this anyway, somehow. So to make the most of it, we needed to find this new way forward. And we believe the right way is investing in customer experience and creating customer value. So now we are aiming at growth through customer experience renewal. And this is much more exciting and inspiring than just focusing on the systems. And our renewal program will be up and running for several years, during which we will renew our ways of working, design new products, services, processes, and of course, utilize a new efficient core system. And we started officially about 2 years ago. And that's also when we set up the customer community. And we're still talking about years of work before the first go live.
I hear what you're saying. 70% of transformation initiatives fail. I always like to think that that's because they start from a technology perspective and not from a change perspective. Like, why do we change? So what you're describing is actually the recipe for success, right? Here's why we're doing it, and then technology will follow what we are doing. But where I think we should go next is you mentioned the business case. The business case to be made for customer experience is a tricky one. There's a lot of people who try to do it and fail. There are some who can do it really well. What is the way that you've been able to translate that into business value, into return on investment, and to initiate this bigger transformation around customer experience?
Well, that's a great question, and that's a still ongoing conversation. We believe that this is beneficial, but as we don't have any go-lives yet, we don't have any new products or services yet, we don't have the exact numbers, but we have already seen the effects of doing this service design and utilizing these all new methods and tools.
What are some of the effects that you've seen? What is the first leading indicator for seeing that this is the right way forward?
Well, as mentioned, we're still heading for the first go live. So our renewal program has not affected the main metrics yet, but we have accomplished lots of stuff. For example, we have the community available for everyone in the group to utilize. It started with us, but is now scaled to the group level. We have a known and acknowledged design model in use, and it is an essential part of our development process. We have multiple new product and service concepts, and we have discussed and described our customer lifecycle journey on the group level, and now we can proceed to more detailed journeys. And dozens of employees have taken part in design process and gotten familiar with the new ways of working. And we have witnessed learning and even enthusiasm among the participants. And the benefits of design have been realized in the writing process of technical requirements and implementation, because when we know what we want, it's much easier to ask for it specifically. And we are actually now composing a playbook for customer-centric development, including our goals, models and tools, and some snapshots from the future.
Can you share a few of the examples that are in that playbook? Like when you talk about design and your design model that is starting to work, like what would I expect to read in your playbook that is maybe not obvious or specific to how you're helping your teams that are non-designers to think design first and customer first? Like, how are you doing that? Like, what are examples that you put in the playbook?
Yeah, well, we we describe our CX renewal as a multi-storied house. Our owner customers will, strategy, values, brand, and trends form the foundation on which we build our actions. The goals and metrics are on the ground floor. It is essential to have common goals. We need to know what kind of customer experience we want to offer in the future, and we need the right metrics to verify the change. And based on those goals, we build design models on the first floor, and all our new products and services go through these models. And as a result of design work, we get new concepts on the second floor, and then we'll start defining the detailed customer journey, the insurance product, processes, communications, etc. on the next floors. And we'll go all the way into the details on the top. And customer insights play a crucial role at all these levels. We started by defining our target state by studying our customers' expectations. Our customers take part in our design process, and we ask them to provide feedback at various stages. And while this may sound obvious, it's something we have had to and still need to practice, because the customer can sometimes get forgotten under intense time pressure from, for example, system development. And in those moments, it might seem like a good idea to push forward or even accelerate without asking any questions or reflecting, but that approach will undoubtedly backfire later. And we will describe all of these stages in the playbook.
I'm fascinated by the house concept. So let's dig in a bit. How does this map back to because you said you have a customer lifecycle model on the highest level that is accepted by all the different stakeholders across the company. How does that map back onto the house? Because it sounds like the house with the values and the goals at the bottom and all the way up to like designing those end journeys, the micro journeys, I don't know if you call them that, sound like you're transforming every service that you have into every part of the business, but there's also an existing reality. So when you look at the customer lifecycle, is that like current reality and this one is moving you along that way? How should we think about those two concepts?
Yes, well, the discussion about the customer journeys is also ongoing. They have been long utilized in our development efforts, but they have been documented in various ways and with different tools, stored in different locations or not at all, and have often been one-off efforts. But now within our renewal program, we have lots of case examples where using the customer journey as the foundation for design is a particularly good idea. So in addition to handling these case examples as well as we can, we are also working together in Local Tapiola Group to elevate our approach to customer journey work to the next level. But we had to start with defining what we mean with customer journeys and what are the benefits of using them and how they are related to business processes, for example. And now, as mentioned, we have mapped out a lifecycle journey for the group's customer and are continuing discussions about more detailed journeys and methods and tools and governance models. But we are picturing the future, so not really the current state.
So how do you map the processes back onto the journeys? This is a pesky one for a lot of companies, because you could say, hey, journey is the lead, and then we understand how our processes are run. but the existing processes are not necessarily mapping back onto these journeys. A lot of companies are finding. So that is a really hard puzzle to make. What have you found to be useful to actually get that done, to have the journey as the foundation for design and then looking at how the processes relate to it?
Well, as part of our concept design model, we draw the customer journeys and then we start drawing the needed processes. So the mapping has been quite logical after all, but we have to sort out all the technical details because the business processes are stored in a different platform and our customer journeys are on PowerPoint and paper and on the walls and so on. So the mapping process itself is not very easy, but when you get to the logic, it sounds very easy.
Right. Yes, there needs to be some basic mapping done before you can manage, right? Before you have an understanding of what can be done. Talk to me about the governance model, because making everyone see journeys the way they are at all these different levels, from a life cycle to maybe a micro journey all the way to a specific step in a journey, is hard. But when you say journey, all the way to your CEO, back to the internet just started yesterday, everyone will have a different idea to what it means. How is that language, or was that a barrier, and how is that language evolving in your company?
Yeah, that's definitely evolving, and I don't have any answers yet. We have some sort of draft of the model, but I have no idea if it will work or not, or if it will be accepted or not. But I hope that a year from now, I'm much wiser.
What are some of the things that you're looking for? What will be good early wins to know that you are right and this is working?
Well, I hope that we get more examples on customer journeys. Now we have the life cycle journey, but we need to figure out what are the next steps, what are the next main journeys to draw, and do we need to draw also the current state? Now we have been focusing on the future, doing it the current state, and I hope that the owners and the governance model are found along the examples, the case examples.
Your company leadership has committed to customer experience transformation. And at the same time, you're an insurance company who cares about quote acceptance rate and certain combined ratio and financial metrics. How is this tied to the business, the running the business? How are people looking into this? What are the expectations from that end? Are there clear milestones to be set from the top, other than the milestones that you've set for your program? Like, how does this run in parallel with running the business where this transformation is going on? Are there strategic goals that are clearly defined, that are easy for you or understandable for everyone to adhere to?
Yes, there are goals. Well, first of all, we are a large group of mutual companies, meaning that we don't have any external shareholders, but every policyholder owns a slice of local Tapiola. And this company structure brings us sort of a positive pressure to involve our customers in development. Our owner customers can have their say in the key decisions our companies make. And we have also looked for, learned, and standardized new ways for keeping up the conversation. And the main goals for our transformation program are better customer experience, less customer churn, and growth in sales. And these are okay, but they're so generic that they don't really guide us as such. We need something more concrete, something that we can always go back to and check if we are going to right direction. And because it all starts with customer experience, we needed to explore our customers' expectations and to define what kind of experience we want to offer them. And this is now called service vision. Building this vision was actually a huge design exercise itself and showed us what customer-centric development and design thinking mean in practice.
How do you measure customer experience then? Because churn is relatively easy and understandable. Obviously, what drives churn or prevents churn is the hard one. But there's a clear metric or metrics to do that. And for growth, it's the same. But how does your business measure customer experience, customer satisfaction? Like, what are the things that you are looking for?
We measure NPS. And although the target state is defined, the target state that we believe is taking our NPS to the next level, the target state still gets a bit blurry sometimes and needs to be clarified on a regular basis. So we have, for example, described what our service vision means in different parts of the customer journey and what kinds of metrics we will use in each part. And now we have a long list of explicit goals like digital buying is so easy that the share of online sales will grow, or we'll have more payment options, or the claim decisions are so clear that the customer doesn't need to call us after receiving it, but will know exactly what is paid and when.
If you're enjoying this conversation, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast channel and leave a review. It makes all the difference. The Experience Edge podcast is where I interview business leaders, CX pioneers, and the best designers who share their insight on creating business impact, having an edge on the customer experience. If you want more exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, check out the Experience Edge podcast on YouTube and LinkedIn so you don't miss a thing. Now let's get back to the conversation. How would you call these? Are these like principles or are they more like pillars for your vision? How are they being used in the company?
Well, they're more like concrete examples of the future state.
Right. And then is there a future state where there will be no service center at all, where people can transact and be a member of your mutual insurance company without actually needing to speak to a person? Or do you think that personal interaction will play and still will play a big role in the future vision of how you're redesigning the customer experience?
The personal service will definitely play a big role also in the future. We have like 20 different companies across the country, and we want to be there where our customers are. So in addition to developing these digital services, we want also to be able to offer personal service.
I want to switch gears a bit to a little bit more back in time, because you make it sound like everyone is practicing design thinking and understanding the journey and truly believes in where you're going. But I'm sure that wasn't the case a little bit earlier. So can you walk us through like initial steps you took to start doing this? And maybe also for folks listening, setting the stage, like when you started this work, who was already able to do this work, looking holistically at the customer experience, who were passionate about it? Did you have an executive sponsor? Like, what was that initial state? And in terms of like where you are today, how many people are part of it? What kind of teams there are? Just to set that stage a bit, and then like let's walk into like the early steps.
Well, previously our approach to development had been quite system-centric, and design efforts were rather fragmented or actually non-existent, or used only to finalize new stuff. And promoting design thinking had been rather slow and challenging. Each project progressed according to the approach of its leader, design-oriented or not, and often with a ready-made solution already in mind. But we realized that since the business transformation program involves renewing our entire offering, it would make sense to also invest in our ways of working and adopt customer-centric and scalable development models. So we were wise enough to take time to rethink our development process for the program, as it was quite clear that we needed some new tools and methods, including design thinking and service design in practice. So that's when we, for example, founded the customer community, built a concept design model, and now we're focusing on taking our customer journey operations to the next level.
What are some of the teams that are involved today that are not necessarily designers or people in the customer experience part of the business?
Well, when we start to design new product or a service, we form a team from different, maybe even different companies, but from different departments and people with different backgrounds. We usually have at least one or two designers, but all the others bring their knowledge about the subject or the process or the product to the table, and then we start co-creating.
But the step before that, so what gets the approval to get all these people from their job and bring them together in this cross-functional team to start executing on this new product or this new service? Like, what goes in before that? Like, how do you make that decision and who's involved? I'm curious to hear.
Well, we agreed that all our new products and services go through these models. So it is just forbidden to replicate the current offering or the current processes, but we must truly understand the customer's needs and respond to them. And as we have agreed to do this, then it's easier to get these members to the team.
So I have to ask, like, if this is the agreed process, then still, I'm going to do this new service, or I have this idea that this is important, or looking at the data, our customers have an unmet need here, so I want to do this. Is it then like, okay, Jenni, great, thumbs up, let's do it? Or is there more to it? It sounds like there's more to it, but maybe there isn't.
There might be a bit more to it, yes. We are now designing the products and services that are replacing our current offering. So it has been quite obvious for a couple of years what we are doing. We have the certain products that we need to replace, and we need to have these new products in the new core system. So they need to be designed. But we are heading towards the point where we have designed or redesigned all our current products. So that's actually a quite interesting question, that how are we going to prioritize the next design projects? And I don't know yet.
So taking an existing insurance product, which is a commodity, how do you redesign it? Is that even possible? Or is it the whole service around that product, from people starting to need it, to wanting it, to discover that you have the best solution? Is it that what you mean? Or are you also reinventing insurance products from the ground up? Like, that sounds very hard to do. Like, what do you mean with redesigning every single product and service we have?
Yeah, it's exactly how you said. It's quite impossible to redesign the actual product. You can't really beat the competition with your products, because they're basically all the same. Life insurance is life insurance. You need to have something else to make you to stand out. So we're designing the whole package with value-adding services and the customer journeys and digital interfaces and so on.
Right. So it's the whole package, as you say, everything included will be designed from the ground up. And then at some point, everything is redesigned, you're implementing it. And then the question is, now what? That's what you said with then the prioritization comes in. So you mentioned the governance structure earlier on. What I've seen a lot of organizations do in this journey-centric transformation is they set up this governance body, and they get entitled. So they get entitled. They think they make all the decisions. They're like the switchboard. They are the masters of the master plan, and everything needs to go through them. That's the bad way that sometimes we see it. The good way is they're a coordinating layer until the company has adopted the new processes, systems, and then it dissolves, and journey management, or however you want to call it, gets embedded into these teams. How are you thinking about this governance body? Is it consisting of people, or is it mainly a process that you have implemented? What does it look like in practice?
Well, in our case, I don't know how it looks like in practice yet. We have temporary solutions for our program, but we need to start designing also the future after the program. And I don't know yet.
Well, if you have a magic wand, how do you want to set it up? Let's say you're going to be end responsible for doing this the right way. How do you think this will play out?
Well, in a perfect world, there would be an owner for every customer journey, and we would have perfect feedback and perfect metrics for all the parts of the customer journeys, and we would know exactly what needs to be done next, what needs to be developed and designed next. And then that theme would be taken to the table and put through our double diamond model. And then the customer journey would be even better.
When you think about the system-centric development process, what are some of the things you stopped doing? Because changing doesn't mean like, here's the new and this is the new way of doing it. It also means like creating space. So stop doing things, stopping rituals, stopping different decision-making fora that you have maybe implemented. Like, what are some of the things that you have already stopped doing that are actually working out quite nicely?
We have had to stop a lot of things, a lot of like old way developing, and we have had to focus on this new way of working and this program involving people in our program. So they need to put something aside so that they have enough time for our program. And we have also been running down some of our old services because we have found out that they are not very appealing to our customers. And then we have more time and people focusing on the new, better services.
So is there going to be a final end state where everything of the old is stopped? Or are you also keeping some of the things that were actually quite good, but you're redesigning them into the new process?
I think that we are renewing and redesigning basically everything, but we won't stop serving our customers. We won't stop paying out compensations. We won't stop the mentioned person-to-person service, for example.
What were the biggest blockers in getting this from the ground and start doing this? What was the biggest frustration the existing teams had with the change, or were there specific people that were trying to block things? Can you speak about what were the biggest blockers that you've experienced in this transformation, or the hardest to get over? Can you speak about some of those learnings that you had?
Sure, there are like tons of learnings. I have maybe like 5 highlights. Always recognize the value for the customer and the employee and seize the momentum. Then be patient, communicate, repeat, celebrate the milestones. And then the 5th one would be that you need to make people realize that customer experience is much more than customer service.
Ooh, what do you mean with that?
Well, people tend to think that customer experience equals to customer service, or that developing CX always means developing only a certain touch point. However, our CX is constructed in, for example, time, journeys, moments, touch points, and emotions. And the customer relationship itself can be very long in our business. Our oldest life insurance policy still in force dates back to 1951. So we need to consider the whole life cycle. And customer service certainly has a huge role in this, but it's not the whole truth.
1951. That's insurance companies have the longest end-to-end customer journeys, if you will, if you put them in actual time, right? So luckily we can put them in relative time. But time is still very important because your data is typically plotted on time. So how do you work with your peers in data analytics and data science to blend the relative time of a customer journey and the actual time of where the metric is showing what has happened and by who? How do you work with your data peers?
Well, we get data and customer insights from multiple different sources, and we usually need these data people to dig our data warehouses and everything to get them together. But we do regular surveys and measuring, of course, and we get spontaneous feedback. And we do, for example, mystery shopping. We do lots of interviews. We have tested gamified customer workshops. And yeah, we try to combine these with all the sales data, the NPS, and so on.
What is the most surprising thing that you've learned by combining all these data? Some of the things that you would expect a customer to need from an insurance company are obvious. What were some of the surprising things that you found doing this work with your community, with your customers, about what they actually need from you as a company?
Well, we have identified, for example, customer segments for our products and marketing, and product or service features that have been obvious to us that would be appealing, that don't really appeal to customers. But luckily, we have also found some features that should be investigated and designed further.
I'm curious, to paint this picture, because some organizations are actually pulling the entire company together to transform and organize around the customer or the customer journey. In other organizations, this happens in pockets. And when there's some groundswell, some momentum, people start to connect the dots. It seems like you have this top-down approach where everyone is saying, we're going to go all in on this. What is the good about that? But are there also things that are making it harder because everyone is involved? Are there differences between, maybe you've seen other companies do this, but what is the benefit of doing it company-wide? But I'm also curious to hear what might be not so good about involving the whole company to do this all at once.
Well, it requires patience and loads of communication. Although we have the support from the board of directors, the promotion and scaling of customer-centric development requires patience and enthusiasm, passion, and a significant amount of communications and repetition. I would like to have things happening very fast and everyone to be on board right away, but they are not. I know we need time and persistence. Everything won't be set up at once, and we'll learn by doing. I know that with all this design work, we make customer experience and its renewal concrete and visible, and make sure the experience is consistent in different channels and touch points. But in addition to carrying out all this development work, customer centricity and concrete examples must be highlighted in various forms and on different occasions and platforms, and visualized, and the benefits, participant experiences, and customer insights, along with decisions based on them, must be shared on a regular basis. So you just don't have everyone on board all the time. So we have made a communications plan for our customer-centric development playbook and all the concept works. We do Teams posts, produce videos, and discuss these topics on the programs, forums, and events. And then it just all needs to be repeated over and over. And the new models may take a bit more time and energy in the beginning. And I know also this communication might sometimes feel like extra work, but they really take us towards the target state in the long run.
Persistence seems to be the key word. And when I was doing research for our conversation, I also asked some people you work with. And Vera, the program manager for the renewal experience, she also said, like, maybe you should ask Jenni about where does she find the motivation? Because not everyone immediately understands how great these new things are, right? And there is a lot of resistance. So where do you draw your motivation from?
Well, that's a great question. Well, if I know something is worth doing, then I know it's worth standing for, and it's worth all the sweat and tears. I would actually find it really hard to motivate myself to do something that I didn't see valuable to our customers. And I know that meaningful progress often requires patience and resilience. And I also lean on small wins. Seeing an idea resonate with even a few or even just a couple of colleagues gives me strength. And I have learned to break down huge goals into smaller, more manageable steps. And then I track my progress and celebrate the milestones every now and then. And
do you celebrate with yourself, or do you have people that celebrate with you? Because this is the hard thing, right? If you break down your own goals, be accountable for them on your own. Like, you have to be really persistent in doing that. How do you celebrate the small wins alongside of the path to the big wins?
Well, we celebrate both alone and together because there's so much work to do, and the program is huge and takes time. We need these smaller milestones than just the big go lives. And it's super important to celebrate them. For example, it's always a big effort to finalize a product concept and clarify the goal. So it definitely is worth celebrating. And at this point, we usually enjoy some cake and sparkling wine. And those who participated in the design process receive a diploma and a diamond level work sticker. These are small ways to reinforce the feeling that we have accomplished something, that the team truly is contributing to our renewal. Because these are exactly the kinds of new ways of working. For example, this concept design model, where the team itself designs the future products. And our renewal isn't a tidal wave that hits with the first go live. It's something we're doing and undergoing right here and now.
I love that. Celebrating the small wins. It's such an undervalued concept, and doing that is a lot of good for the teams. I can definitely relate to that. Jenni, I want to do a quick fire round, and I like to ask about 4 types of journeys, customer journeys, in your life. And you can answer that in any way. The customer journeys that you've designed, created, or as a consumer maybe were part of. I'll leave you be the judge of that. But I love to know your first, your last, your worst, and your best journey. Are you ready to do this with me?
Okay, let's go.
All right. What is your first journey?
The first one I recall I was designing. It was a project ages ago. We had a night out with the whole project team, and someone had signed us up for a customer journey workshop the next morning. And these poor consultants really tried their best, but we were tired and hungry, and the workshop was the only thing between us and the lunch at McDonald's.
Oh gosh, this sounds like a worst journey as well, but this was your first. What was your worst journey?
Well, this must be something to do with technology and setting up new devices or using software that doesn't work the way they are supposed to or the way I suppose them to work. My family is used to hearing swear words every time I face terrible UI. For example, ordering the installation of one software for this session, it was a bureaucratic mess. And I didn't even get the software. Instead, I got another computer. But everything's fine now. I even got a tech person here to take care of me. So actually, it turned out great.
Right. Wow, that's a great example to actually merge the worst and the last journey into one. So maybe we should end on a high. What is the best journey that comes to mind for you?
I would love to say our brand new lifecycle journey. I'm so happy with it, but I think the best is yet to come. We're putting so much effort on our journeys and new services, and I'd be super happy to tell more about them. But in the future, they're still super secret.
All right. Jenni, it was so nice to have you on. And maybe in the super secret future, we should have you on again to see what of that life cycle actually has become a reality, and to go back to today and see what the new best journey is for you. If people want to hear more about your work and how you're actually doing this customer-centric experience transformation across the business, want to learn from you, I know we have a lot of people in the Nordics listening and doing the same thing. So if they want to reach out and find you, what is the best place they can do that?
You'll find me on LinkedIn.
All right. We'll put your LinkedIn in the show notes. Jenni, thank you so much for being here with me today. And thank you also for making that journey, that technology journey work to actually make it.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this valuable today, don't forget to subscribe to the Experience Edge on your favorite podcast channel, leave a review, and share it with your team. I'd be delighted. Today's episode was brought to you by Daydo, the AI journey management solution for enterprise. To have an edge on your business strategy and to know why your customers do what they do, visit daydo.com and explore more resources to accelerate your customer experience game. And remember, The journey to creating customer-centric impact never ends, and here's always a new edge to discover in doing things differently. Next week, new episode. Until then, keep pushing the edge and stay inspired. See you in the next episode.